I know where I stand now," she said with zero emotion, while I sobbed on FaceTime about losing my best friend of 9 years. So I realized where she stood too, and it wasn't in my life anymore. I am Carter, 26, work as a veterinary technician, and I have always been close with my family. Been dating Savannah, 24F, for about 8 months. She is a real estate agent and seemed supportive at first. Key phrase being at first. This story is about my dog Lucy, and I need to say up front, she wasn't just a dog to me. Lucy was my sister, my best friend, my shadow for 9 years. I got her as a puppy when I was 17, and she had been with me through high school graduation, college, starting my career, everything. Black lab mix, laziest and most loving animal you have ever met. She would sleep until noon if you let her, then follow you around the house just wanting to be near you. 2 months ago, Lucy started acting strange. At first, just little things, not jumping up on the couch. Like usual, walking a bit slower on our morning walks. I work with animals every day, so I know when something's off. Took her to my clinic and Dr. Martinez ran some tests. The diagnosis hit me like a truck: tick-borne disease that attacks the nervous system. It is rare, aggressive, and there is no cure. The paralysis starts in the tail and works its way forward. We could manage her pain and keep her comfortable, but eventually her quality of life would deteriorate to the point where the kindest thing would be to let her go. Lucy fought hard for 2 months. She lost control of her back legs first, then her hind end. But her spirit was still there. She had still wag her tail when I came home. Still try to follow me around the house even when she could barely walk. Watching your best friend slowly lose their body while their mind stays sharp is the most heartbreaking thing imaginable. Last Tuesday morning, I woke up and knew it was time. Lucy couldn't stand anymore. She was having accidents constantly because she couldn't control her bladder. When I tried to help her outside, she just looked at me with these eyes that said, "I am tired. Carter, I am so tired." My mom Helen came with me to the clinic. Lucy had always loved car rides, and even though she couldn't lift her head much anymore, I could tell she knew where we were going. Dogs are smarter than people give them credit for. Dr. Martinez was incredible. He explained everything step by step, let us take all the time we needed. The first injection was just to relax her and make her sleepy. Lucy was lying on this soft blanket on the examination table, and I was petting her head, telling her what a good girl she was. Then something happened that I will never forget as long as I live. Even though Lucy could barely move her back legs, she used every ounce of strength she had left to crawl across that table to me. She dragged herself with just her front paws until she could rest her head in my lap. I lost it, completely broke down crying while this dying dog used her last bit of energy to comfort me. That is who Lucy was. Even at the end, she was more worried about me than herself. Dr. Martinez gave her the final injection while her head was in my lap. I felt her breathing slow down, then stop. I watched the light go out of her eyes while I held her. 9 years of unconditional love, and it was over. Mom drove me home because I was too much of a mess to drive. When we got to my place, I called Savannah on FaceTime because I needed to hear a supportive voice. I needed my girlfriend to help me through the worst moment of my life. "Hey babe," I said through tears. "I just lost Lucy. I had to put her to sleep today. I am devastated. I expected comfort. I expected sympathy. I expected the person who had been dating me for 8 months to show some basic human empathy. Instead, Savannah looked at me through the phone screen with this cold, annoyed expression and said 6 words that I will never forget. Well, I know where I stand now. I literally couldn't process what she had just said. "What do you mean?" I asked. "I mean, I know where I rank in your priorities, Carter. You are more upset about a dog dying than you have ever been about anything involving me." I was too shocked to even respond properly. Here I was, having just held my best friend while she died, and my girlfriend was making it about herself. She was jealous of a dead dog. The conversation ended with her hanging up on me while I was still trying to explain why Lucy meant so much to me. I sat in my empty apartment that night, missing Lucy's presence for the first time in 9 years, and realized I had no support from the person who was supposed to care about me most. But that was just the beginning of understanding who Savannah really was. What happened over the next year showed me exactly what kind of person I had been dating. Edit. Holy hell, guys. This blew up overnight. Thank you for all the kind words about Lucy. She really was the best dog ever. Edit 2. For everyone asking why I stayed with Savannah after this, you are right to question it. I was grieving and not thinking clearly. Sometimes it takes time to see abuse patterns when you are in the middle of them. Update 1. Sorry for the delay updating. Work has been crazy and honestly, I needed time to process all your responses. The support you guys have shown for Lucy and for what I went through means more than you know. So where I left off, Savannah had just hung up on me while I was grieving Lucy's death. I should have ended things right there, but grief makes you do stupid things. I was vulnerable, hurting, and I kept making excuses for her behavior. The next few weeks were rough. Anyone who has lost a pet knows that the house feels empty in this specific way. No clicking of nails on hardwood, no jingling collar, no warm body following you from room to room. I would catch myself looking for Lucy in her favorite spots, or reaching for her leash before remembering she wasn't there anymore. Savannah came over 3 days after Lucy died. I thought maybe she had had time to think about her reaction, and would apologize, or at least acknowledge that she had been insensitive. Instead, she walked into my apartment, and her first words were, "Good. Now we can finally get this place clean without all that dog hair everywhere." I stared at her. "Savannah, Lucy died 3 days ago. I am still processing this. Carter, it was just a dog. You need to move on." "Just a dog," she called Lucy. "Just a dog," while I was still crying myself to sleep every night. Over the next few months, Savannah made it clear that she thought my grief was excessive and embarrassing. If I mentioned missing Lucy, she'd roll her eyes or change the subject. If I looked at photos of Lucy on my phone, she would make comments like, "Are you seriously still doing this?" When I wanted to keep Lucy's collar as a memento, Savannah said it was gross, and I should throw it away. When my mom suggested we make a photo album of Lucy's life, Savannah called it weird and asked why I was obsessed with a dead animal. The worst part was how she would use Lucy against me in arguments. Anytime we fought about anything, she would bring up how I cared more about a dog than my own girlfriend. She would say things like, "Maybe you should have dated Lucy instead," or "I cannot compete with the memory of your precious puppy." Every single time she said stuff like this, it felt like she was stepping on Lucy's grave. But I was still grieving, still vulnerable, and somehow she convinced me that maybe I really was being excessive in my sadness. She was isolating me from my support system by making me feel ashamed of normal grief. She was manipulating me when I was at my lowest point, but at the time I just felt confused and guilty. The breaking point came in September, about 6 months after Lucy died. Savannah had been having problems at work. Some big sale fell through, and she was stressed about her commission. She came over to my place in a rage, slamming doors and cursing about her clients. That is when she turned on me. "You know what your problem is, Carter? You are weak. You are pathetic. You cried for months over a stupid dog, but you cannot even properly comfort your girlfriend when she is upset." I stood up from the couch. "Savannah, that is not fair. Lucy meant everything to me, and you know that. Lucy, 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 I am so sick of hearing about that stupid dog. She is dead, Carter. Get over it." Something snapped in me. For the first time in months, I stood up for myself and for Lucy's memory. "Don't you ever call her stupid again." Lucy was family to me. She loved me unconditionally for 9 years, which is more than I can say for you. That is when Savannah completely lost it. She grabbed a picture frame off my coffee table. She grabbed it at my face. I heard a crack and immediately felt blood streaming down my face. The pain was instant and intense, but the shock was even worse. The woman I had been dating for over a year had just broken my nose because I defended my dead dog's memory. Savannah didn't apologize. She didn't ask if I was okay. She just stood there breathing hard and said, "Maybe now you will think twice before disrespecting me." I drove myself to urgent care with a towel pressed to my face. The doctor confirmed my nose was broken and said it as best he could. When he asked what happened, I was too embarrassed to say my girlfriend had assaulted me over an argument about my dead dog. But sitting in that waiting room with a broken nose and Lucy's photo in my phone as my lock screen, something finally clicked. Lucy had never hurt me, never made me feel small, never told me my feelings were wrong. In 9 years, that dog had never done anything but love me. Meanwhile, the woman who was supposed to love me had just physically assaulted me for grieving my best friend. That night, I finally understood what everyone here had been trying to tell me, and what I did next changed everything. Edit. To everyone asking. Yes, I took pictures of my injuries and kept the broken picture frame. My mom always taught me to document everything. Edit 2. For the people saying I should have left sooner, you are absolutely right. Abuse makes you question your own reality. It took getting physically hurt for me to wake up. Edit 3. Thank you to everyone sharing your own pet loss stories. Lucy would have loved all of you. Update 2. I have been putting off this update because part of me still cannot believe how much my life has changed in the past year. Just got back from the most peaceful weekend I have had in forever, and I finally feel ready to share how this story ends. So there I was, sitting in my apartment with a broken nose and a shattered picture frame, finally seeing Savannah for who she really was. The woman who was supposed to love and support me had physically assaulted me for defending my dead dog's memory. I called my mom that night and told her everything. Not just about the broken nose, but about the months of emotional abuse. The way Savannah had weaponized my grief. How she had made me feel ashamed for loving Lucy. Mom listened quietly until I finished, then said something I will never forget. 9 years, showing you what real love looks like. Don't let this woman make you forget that lesson. She was right. Lucy had never once made me feel bad for caring about her. She had never used my love against me or made me feel guilty for my emotions. Even on her worst days when she was sick and in pain, she had still tried to comfort me if I was upset. The next morning, I packed all of Savannah's stuff that was at my place and drove it to her apartment. When she answered the door, she actually had the nerve to act like nothing had happened. Oh good, you are here. I was thinking we could go to brunch and then maybe look at that new furniture store downtown. I set her boxes down and looked at her broken nose bandage and all. Savannah, we are done. Don't contact me again. What? Carter, you are being dramatic. So we had a little fight. Couples fight. You broke my nose because I wouldn't let you trash my dead dog's memory. That is not a fight, that is assault. For the first time since I had known her, Savannah looked genuinely shocked. I think she had gotten so used to me accepting her behavior that she never expected me to actually leave. You are really going to throw away our entire relationship over this? Over a dog? No, I said. I am ending our relationship because you are abusive, and I finally realized I deserve better. I walked away and never looked back. I had to relearn how to trust my own emotions and instincts. I started seeing a therapist who specialized in helping people recover from emotional abuse. She helped me understand that Savannah had been systematically breaking down my self-worth, especially around my grief. Work became my sanctuary. Being around animals all day reminded me of Lucy and helped me process my grief in a healthy way. My coworkers, who had watched me go through Lucy's illness and death, were incredibly supportive. They had never liked Savannah anyway, and were relieved when I told them we had broken up. 6 months after leaving Savannah, I met Emma. She is a nurse at the emergency animal hospital we sometimes refer cases to, and we had worked together on a few emergency calls. She is kind, funny, and has this calm energy that immediately puts both animals and people at ease. Our first real conversation happened during a particularly difficult case, a family dog that had been hit by a car. While we were working to stabilize the dog, Emma mentioned that she had lost her childhood cat the year before and how much it had affected her. People don't understand that pet loss is real grief, she said, while checking the dog's vitals. It is not less valid just because it is an animal. I almost cried right there in the treatment room, after months of being told my grief was excessive and weird. Here was someone who understood that pets are family. We started dating slowly. Emma never rushed me or made me feel guilty about still missing Lucy. When I showed her photos of Lucy, she would smile and ask me to tell her stories about the silly things Lucy used to do. She made me feel proud of how much I had loved my dog instead of ashamed of it. 3 months ago, Emma and I were walking through the animal shelter where she volunteers, and we saw this senior black lab mix who had been surrendered because her elderly owner had to move to assisted living. The dog's name was Stella, and when she saw me, she walked over and put her head against my leg in the exact same way Lucy used to do. "She likes you," Emma said softly. I looked down at this sweet old dog who needed a home, and for the first time since Lucy died, I felt ready, not to replace Lucy. Nobody could ever do that, but to open my heart to another dog who needed love. Emma was excited about the idea of me adopting Stella. In fact, she offered to help with the transition and even researched the best senior dog foods and supplements. The difference between her reaction and how Savannah would have reacted was like night and day. Stella's been with me for 3 months now, and she has brought so much joy back into my life. She is lazier than Lucy ever was, which I didn't think was possible, but she has this gentle sweetness that reminds me why I love dogs so much. Emma adores her and always brings special treats when she comes over. Last weekend, Emma and I were sitting on the couch with Stella between us, and Emma said something that really hit me. "You know what I love about you, Carter? You have this capacity to love so deeply, the way you loved Lucy, the way you love Stella now. It shows what kind of person you are. Anyone who would make you feel bad about that isn't worthy of you." That is when I realized I had found someone who values the same things I do. Someone who sees my ability to love animals as a strength, not a weakness. Someone who would never make me choose between her and my grief, because she understands that my capacity for love isn't limited. It is expansive. As for Savannah, I heard through mutual friends that she has been through several relationships since we broke up. Apparently, she has a pattern of starting conflicts and then playing the victim when people call her out. I feel sorry for whoever she is dating now, but I am grateful it is not me. I am planning to propose to Emma next month. We have talked about getting a bigger place where we can foster dogs who need temporary homes. She wants to specialize in senior dog care, and I want to work with hospice cases, helping families say goodbye to their pets with dignity and love. Lucy taught me what unconditional love looks like. Savannah taught me what it doesn't look like. And Emma is teaching me what healthy love between two people can be. Sometimes the worst things that happen to us lead us exactly where we need to be. Edit. For everyone asking for the dog tax, I will try to post some photos of Stella when I figure out how to work in GER. Edit 2. To the guy who said I am whipped for letting a woman influence my pet decisions. Emma didn't influence anything. She supported a decision I made for myself. That is what healthy relationships look like. Edit 3. Thank you to everyone who shared their own stories about finding love after abuse. You guys give me hope that people can heal and find happiness. Final update. It has been over a year since my last update, and I realized I never properly closed this chapter of my story. A lot has happened, and I wanted to share the final pieces with you guys, because this community was such a huge part of my healing journey. First, the most important news. Emma said yes. I proposed 3 months ago during a sunset walk with Stella, and it was perfect. Nothing fancy or dramatic, just the 3 of us in the park where Emma and I had our first official date. When I got down on one knee, Stella sat right next to me like she was part of the proposal team. Emma cried happy tears, and said later that including Stella made it even more meaningful, because she knows how important my dogs are to me. Emma wants to include a memorial for Lucy in the ceremony somehow. Maybe lighting a candle or having a moment of silence. The fact that she wants to honor Lucy's memory on our wedding day tells you everything you need to know about the kind of person Emma is. We moved in together 6 months ago and started fostering senior dogs through the local rescue. We have helped 12 dogs find their forever homes so far. There is something special about giving older dogs a comfortable place to wait for their new families. And it has helped me channel my love for Lucy into something positive. Stella is doing great. By the way, she has slowed down a bit more, but she is happy and comfortable. Emma spoils her rotten with homemade treats and heated beds in every room. Stella has claimed Emma's side of the bed as her favorite spot, which Emma pretends to mind but secretly loves. Working with hospice cases at the clinic has become my specialty, just like I had planned. There is something profound about helping families say goodbye to their pets with dignity and love. I think about Lucy during every case, remembering how Dr. Martinez made her final moments peaceful and surrounded by love. Being able to provide that same comfort to other families feels like honoring Lucy's memory. A few months ago, one of our foster dogs was a 9-year-old black lab named Duke, who reminded me so much of Lucy that it took my breath away. Same goofy personality, same way of leaning against you for attention, same habit of stealing food off the counter when you are not looking. When Duke's new family came to meet him, their 8-year-old daughter fell in love immediately. As they were leaving with Duke, the little girl turned to me and said, "Don't worry, mister. I will take really good care of him." I had to step outside for a minute because I was crying. Not sad tears, but grateful. Seeing Duke go to a family that would love him the way I loved, Lucy felt like completing a circle somehow. As for Savannah, I ran into her at a coffee shop about 6 months ago. She was with some guy I didn't recognize, and she saw me before I could leave. She actually had the nerve to come over and try to make small talk, asking how I was doing and mentioning that she had heard I was engaged. "That is great, Carter. I hope she makes you happy," she said. Like we were old friends who had just drifted apart instead of former partners where she had broken my nose. I kept the conversation short and polite, but the whole interaction just reminded me how right I had been to leave. She showed no awareness of how badly she had treated me, no acknowledgement of the abuse, no genuine remorse. Just surface-level pleasantries from someone who probably tells people we had an amicable breakup. The guy she was with seemed nice enough, and I genuinely hope for his sake that she has gotten help for her issues, but that is not my problem anymore. The biggest thing I have learned through all of this is that grief doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. The people who matter will support you through it, and the people who don't support you don't deserve to be in your life. Lucy's death was devastating, but it also taught me to recognize real love versus manipulation disguised as love. Emma and I talk about getting a puppy after we are married. Maybe a rescue from the shelter where we volunteer. The idea of raising a dog together, of building that kind of family bond, feels like the perfect way to honor everything Lucy taught me about love and loyalty. I still miss Lucy every day. There are moments when I catch myself looking for her or when I see something that reminds me of her goofy personality. But now those moments make me smile instead of just making me sad. Emma says she wishes she could have met Lucy, and that she is grateful to Lucy for helping shape me into the person I am today. "Lucy loved you so well that you learned how to love well," Emma told me recently. That is her gift to both of us. She is right. Lucy showed me what unconditional love looks like, what loyalty means, what it feels like to be accepted exactly as you are. Those lessons helped me recognize abuse when I was experiencing it. And they helped me recognize real love when Emma came into my life. Lucy was the best dog in the world, and she deserved to be remembered with love, not used as a weapon against me. I am grateful that Emma helps me honor Lucy's memory the right way. Sometimes the most painful experiences in our lives lead us to exactly where we are supposed to be. Lucy's death was devastating, but it also led me away from an abusive relationship and toward a healthy one. I would never choose for things to have happened this way, but I am grateful for where the journey brought me. Life is good, really good. Edit. Thank you to everyone who followed this story from the beginning. Your support meant everything during my darkest times. Edit 2. For everyone asking about wedding plans, it is going to be a small ceremony at the animal shelter, where Emma volunteers seemed fitting. Edit 3. Lucy's collar is hanging in our hallway next to Stella's leash. Emma put it there without me asking. That is how I knew she was the one.